Okay, now we are going to talk about how we can identify conic sections just by being given the equations. Because we've dealt with the equations for parabolas, hyperbolas, circles, and ellipses, but if I mix them all up, the question is, could you tell me which one is which? And so how do you look for it? With a parabola, you'll only have an x squared or a y squared. Only one of those will be squared in the equation, but not both. If both are squared, it's got to be one of these other three. Hyperbola is the next easiest to identify because you may have something in front of the x squared or y squared, but you have both of them and one of them is negative. Okay, so one is subtracting. So we could have x squared minus y squared, or you could have a situation that is y squared minus x squared. But there is a minus involved. Now, a circle and an ellipse are the closest in relationship and obviously the closest in shape. When you have their equations and you're looking at the x squared and the y squared, both of them are going to have pluses. So x squared plus y squared. So how do you tell the difference? It's by the number in front of your x's and y's. If the x's and y's have the same number, and I'm just going to use an A for right now, in front of both of them, it's a circle. If they have different numbers, then it's an ellipse. Okay, so that's how we determine what we have. So I'm going to do an example so that you can practice this relationship. Okay, so here's a little bit of practice for figuring this out. If these were on your paper, could you figure out which one is an ellipse, which one's a hyperbola, which one is a circle, which one's a parabola, if there are any of these? So what you need to focus on is the squared items, just the x squareds and y squareds. So the first one, the only thing that we have is this 4x squared. There is no y squared. And the fact that there's only one thing squared tells me this has to be a parabola. The fact that it's x squared tells me that it's a parabola that faces up or down, but right now I'm just identifying. In the second one, I have 4x squared minus a y squared. So because you have a minus in there, one's positive, one's negative, that means you have a hyperbola. In the third example, I have 2x squared plus 4y squared. The plus means it's either a circle or an ellipse, excuse me, a circle or an ellipse, because you have x squared and y squared, but they have different numbers, so it has to be an ellipse. And then our last one, we have an x squared and a y squared with a plus. So again, it's either a circle or an ellipse, but when you look at the number in front, which is 2, they're both the same. It has to be a circle. If you want to practice identifying these in your own time, this is not a required assignment, but on page 689 of your textbook, you can look at 49 through 58. This is something you will be expected to be able to do.